There we go. Henk, I'm still not entirely sure. I've got your comments still here. We can give it a try. Henk, are you still there? Before I go into an experimental twin flame reading, and he's not even here. Henky. I should get Dobby to call you. No, I thought the only way I can think of to do it is to answer each part. Where I'm at, where she is at, how you going to get together type of thing. Let's see what pops up. And this is actually for the last one, so we're going to do the last part first. For these, because I prefer these cards for that one. Oh, we're starting with the 7 of spades already. Okay. And I think the deck is upside down again. I think it's just that card that's upside down. We'll fix that. Well, suddenly feeling like dizzy and tired. The twin flame went out. Wow, I'm feeling so dizzy. It's also part of the check because it's like kind of, it's so bad. It's so wobbly now. It's like kind of makes you feel like you're spinning almost. All right, so then the first one, where you are at now. Let's see what pops out. I mean, it could become a spread thing. That card's upside down. We're repeating cards already. Seven, 7, 7. Come in, Mr. Bond. You want me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I want you to die. It's so strange handling this particular bicycle deck. It feels like there's cards missing. I think for some reason it must be ever so slightly thinner. The same quality as the others. But it's thinner. I mean, now there's 3 cards missing, but it's just, I mean, that one's got extra cards in. But even just like, yeah, that one's got 3 extra cards, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about this particular, the Avery pack. It's very slightly thinner. And no, this is not the 9 square, before everybody gets all excited. These are 3 different questions. Well, that's why I like to use this microphone is driving me nuts. The thing is also, when I was in Ireland, I had the other one. I had the guard, the shield, which now actually would be really helpful here, but it was just too big to bring with to block out the echo. I might actually try and engineer something similar. I have to think of it. I used to use it when I was in South Africa. I used to use it, and then of course I used to just have further out there, and it used to just. So the shadow, you couldn't see the shadow it caused on. Like, don't you fall out now? I'll get very upset if you fall out in the stream. You let you see DIY repairs. Straight off the bat, if we are to take this as true, because remember, just when we pull out cards, you have to put down something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a message. That's why I always say to people, I'll just pull out cards and see what it says. No, the universe and whoever it is doesn't have to reply. And if you're just doing cards, and there will just be cards. There will just be stock standard cards. But the like immediate thing I get is that neither of you are ready. So if you do, in your case, I probably do believe, I do actually think that you probably do have a twin flame. Yeah, no, it's partly off logic, but I do believe that I do think so. Just from knowing, I do think you do have a twin flame. I don't. I never created one, so I don't have a twin flame. It's not sad. It's just how we roll the dice. Like I didn't just like if you read Barney's book, he explains it quite well. Yeah, buddy. I wish I could play that thing, but I haven't got the folder open. I like Barney's call out. So in your case, I do think you do have a twin flame. However, even if you have a twin flame, it doesn't mean you're supposed to meet in this lifetime. I'm not saying that you won't. I'm saying you can be twin flames and not meet up in a particular lifetime. Now, according to Barney's definition, I tend to go with that when I tend to. It feels right. It's like kind of. It just feels right. It's difficult to explain why you know something's right and something's wrong. His definition is at some point, and I think it not necessarily, because we always think of creation when the soul is created, when the soul creates itself, and I don't think it's necessarily like the way it's described. It's simply described that way so that human beings can relate to it. But at some point, let's just put it this way: at some point, the soul creates like a duplicate of itself, so that it can have company. It can have so it. Oh, there we go. The plugs are going out. So it creates. I'll just fix this. DIY on the spot. So the soul creates a. It's difficult to explain it in words. It creates like not a duplicate of itself, but it splits itself. Do you know that old? Now the chair is really wobbling. Oh, I'm going like side to side the whole time. I'm trying to stay balanced. I don't know which mythology it is. I think it's like Socrates or something. One of them. They had this idea, or maybe it's the gods, mythological gods or something, where it's like the Garden of Eden type of story, where because they were so perfect and unruly and blah 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 blah, they split them in half, so that they forever would be trying to find each other, and they would be like less troublesome. Keep them busy. So there's that, and I don't know where it comes from, but there's a mythological story like that. So with the twin flame, it's kind of a similar thing. It's because it's energy. It's not quite split. It's almost like you created. It's like a twin. That's why it's called a twin flame. It's almost like a very, very, very close connection because it is you. It is yourself. It's kind of difficult to explain. It's beyond human words, and that's the way I see it as well. So a twin. It's not like with a soul mate. It is a completely independent soul. Yes, but this is the issue that we have online. Is people are talking about these things, and they have decided what it means, and it doesn't mean that. In spiritual talk, like proper spiritual talk, not just gobbledygook from Hollywood or YouTube gurus. The twin flame is, I believe, is exactly in the way that Barney said. The soul creates. Because the soul's also able to be in different places at different times. So it creates like there's no way to describe it. It creates another instance of itself that it can interact with. It's still one soul in a way. You can't really split the energy. So the thing I find with twin flame thing is that there's a sense of yearning to be reunited, because if you think about, do you remember the Harry Potter story where he took his soul and he could be immortal? He put a little bit of it in different things and different objects and stuff so that he could never be destroyed. The problem is that when you split it up, you're always part. You're never whole, and that's where the twin flame thing I think really comes into itself. There's this absolute drive to reunite. Some souls don't do that. They just decide not to. They I don't know. I'll tell you why. That's why I say, like, I don't have a twin flame. So there's no overall urge to be with someone. I mean, I'd like it, but like I don't have this overwhelming desire to have this thing, because I've come to the conclusion there isn't. It's not that we can't have soulmates, because soulmates are separate souls that are just friends. They're mates. They can be romantic. They can be just friends. Like you can, as we've spoken about this many times. You sometimes soulmates don't even come into the same lifetime. They could be your guide, for example. One of your guides could be a soulmate. It's got nothing to do with sex per se. Yeah, but you can have that with anybody. It doesn't have to be a twin flame. I know this is just for argue. It was just a joke that you just did it as a joke, and we're just trying out to see what information comes through. Yeah. But that's the thing, you see, for me, I never created one because I understand it. There's no need for it. For me, I'm not saying for other souls now. We don't have any purpose for it, so we just didn't create one. Some people have done that. Some souls have created it, and there's also no reason why you couldn't be reunited permanently so that you're no longer chasing each other. It's part of the experience. The soul's looking at experiences. So it's like a junkie. It will do anything to have a different type of experience. It's interesting that it does show there is something. Yes. The definition is sometimes not as important as the experience. Let me read the questions again. So this is where you are at. This is where she's at, and then this is how you're going to get together, type thing. So you and how you're going to get together. You've got 7. Hey, Oyo, how you doing? Nice to see you again. So you got the 7. That one. Now he's going to get very. He's going to levitate. Hank's going to be levitating all day. He's like, "See, I told you. I'm going to get Dommy on you." Let's see. No, I don't want to cheer my own channel. Fuck off. Let's see if she comes up with the right one.
I feel like I'm totally dying here, so uncool.
It wasn't quite the one I was hoping she would come up with. Well, no, anybody can use, any sub can use the Dommy command. It's just on the timeout, so I think it only plays it because otherwise the thing is, like, I don't have that many of them. So what happens is we'll just go through them and then like it'll be the same thing over and over and over. So if you can generate some interesting ones, like it's mostly like well, it is just me. It's mostly just comments that like I was trying to make her sound like totally, absolutely like the Valley Girl kind of thing. So every time I come up with something interesting, I would just type it out carefully, try to add pauses and spaces into it for effect, and then just run them and then save them if they came out all right. I just find it's very difficult to control her. There's no control over how rapidly she speaks. Like sometimes she blah, 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 blah. It's like you can't even understand what she's saying. It's just too quick. So that's why I started using like dots. But then that sometimes makes her stutter. So it depends. It's very random on how it comes out. Yeah, there's a tendency. But if you put it all the way to the max, then like I say, there's a chance of making it very dull. But I actually find you get a more consistent voice pattern than if I'm finding it's just the same. Like I cannot get a variation, then I bring them all the way down to get the AI to just kind of like go off on a different tangent and try it again. But the one she was literally shouting, I was like, crikey, you're not supposed to be shouting this stuff out. And I ran it twice, and eventually I gave up. I tried different punctuation. I said, no, I haven't got enough credits to keep trying this, because it was a pity, because it would have been a nice comment. Oh, well, yeah, I just like Dommy because she's like, so, it just really amuses me. And people might find it very irritating. But I find Domi very, very, she fascinates the crap out of me, just the accent. So I deliberately, everything I write has got a lot of likes and totals and totally, and I totally like this. So I try to place it in the right place where it would actually be used, not just a random like in the sentence. It's got to be placed in a certain place for it to be the vowel speak. If it's not emphasized correctly, it's not vowel speak. It's just somebody using too many likes. But I haven't tried it because it's too expensive. It takes too many credits to be doing stuff like that. I was trying to find the voice that you use for Jimmy Bob because I thought it might be fun to do a few of those, but I couldn't figure out which. They all sounded. None of them sound like Jimmy Bob. I think you might have done it on a different site. All right, let's do this. I don't think either of you are ready, to be honest. That's why you're not together. In your case, you're going through a life change, which we all know, making it happen. You're in a fairly secure place in terms of financially and all that. You're fairly secure. But there's a life change that is happening as we speak. It's been happening over the last 6 months, 8 months. In her case, she's pretty independent. She's off doing her own thing. Was a community-made voice. Yeah, but I don't have subscriptions, so maybe that's not available to me. Then, in like, what was the last part? How you're going to get together type deal. It doesn't really say that. It doesn't really say how. It just says that stop asking the question because it will happen. That's what it says. You are going to make it happen. And there's the Wheel of Fortune. There's the 10 of Hearts. So it ends up in the long-term relationship goal that you are seeking. And that's why I'm saying with the twin flame, you have that burning desire to be reunited, because in a sense, the energy has been not split, like in a sense of like split personalities, but the energy is not complete. So there is a feeling of completion when a twin flame does come in contact with somebody else. So I do believe genuinely some people, if they created a twin flame, they will experience that deprivation, one can say. No, it just says she's busy. It says she's like, it's almost off like an adventure. You see, this is the thing with soulmates and twin flames as well, is that they don't hang around waiting for us. Sometimes like with soulmates, you make an arrangement that you'll bump into each other in this lifetime, or sometimes you don't. Like you may just have them as for example, a guide. So that you'll still be, you're never separated. Like even your twin flame, you're never separated. The soul's not upset about any of it. It's just the human aspect of it. The human ego has this desire to connect, has an overwhelming desire to connect with someone. And that's just part of the physical experience. So I wouldn't say she's unhappy. I would say she's not thinking about it at all. So I would say she's off on an adventure. She's busy. She hasn't made. I would get a feel. I would think this is not something it's probably more on your mind than it is on your twin flame's mind. She's got a full life. That, or she's just not really paying any attention to it. I think that would be probably more of an accurate thing. In other words, he's prioritizing goals over emotions. If it is who I think it is, she wouldn't want to think about it. Well, that's what I'm saying. If it is Rochelle, then she's withdrawn, emotionally withdrawn. So it's a very independent. It's not an independent sense of being a hermit. It's like an emotional hermit, where like you're so busy on career, you're so busy on chasing goals that you don't put enough time into relationships. Like for me, I don't really put much time into relationships, mostly because like they're just not happening. So I just go on with my life. I just do my thing. That's this. That tea was not good today. I'm glad it's finished. I've got some more in the fridge. The other half is in the fridge. I did take it out of the freezer today, so it won't be frozen solid when I'm done with the stream. Yeah, that's exactly it. So it becomes a very... Oh, I like this. I'm going to give this a like so I can play it later. Why pretzel rocks? Doesn't make any sense. I have no way... I don't know how pretzel rocks works. It's so ridiculous. Everything says I like everything. Like I can't actually I can add it to a playlist. I'm just gonna add it to a playlist. That's what I'm starting doing, because there's some tracks I really like on pretzel rocks. I'd like to download them for offline use. Alright, I just add it to a like, because every time I go to click like on a thing, it always says unlike. Whatever. It's got my kind of music. And I do think about it, but I use it as a motivation to keep improving. Yeah, because at the moment you've got independent lives. At the moment you've got stuff to do on your own. This is stuff that you need to do and she needs to do. And again, remember, the cards do not answer in terms of a timeline. You may not be with your... You may not have this relationship in this lifetime. No, we don't do twin flame readings for Lucia. Ever. You know what? She doesn't believe in it anyway. So it's like, I definitely would not do it for someone who doesn't even believe in it. It's a complete waste of energy. So that's the only thing you got to keep in mind. That the flamethrower twins. Excuse me. So you got to keep this in mind, that it may not happen in this lifetime, but by the sheer fact that the twin flame exists, it means that flame exists. You do not actually have to be physically together to have the connection. Like on Barney's stream, somebody, I don't even know who it could be. Barney was saying somebody was whispering Josephine. I said, I know, this has been a thing lifelong, I think, for 20, 30 years. Every now and again, somebody pops up and calls me Josephine. So that's not new. And for me, it's always been a joke. I say, it's not Josephine, it's Jocelyn. And then Barney misunderstood when he was on stream. This is going to take too long to explain. So that's an ongoing thing. And somebody was whispering in his ear, Josephine. And I'm going, yeah, no, I don't, whatever. I've heard that my whole life. I don't know why. Why this Josephine reference pops up. No, stop giving random weirdos.
You're like a totally awesome giving giver.
Thank you, Hank. Stop giving random people subs. They never turn up. So yeah, that's kind of it. So just don't. I just don't want you to be disappointed that if it doesn't happen in this lifetime, because the soul doesn't work on a lifetime. Everything is like a cumulative experience. So for the soul's point of view, there's no actual separation. That's actually a word. It's deprivation and separation. Deprivation. I just remember that was actually a word that came up on the stream. We made up this word deprivation, and I just used it by accident. Deprivation. Separation. So just because you're not together in the physical sense, it doesn't mean that you're not together. Like, for example, I use this all the time. Edna's dead. Dead as a doornail. And yet she still pops up. You know, she still pops up every now and again. But useless advice. You don't listen. I said, well, I can't hear what you're saying. So it's like... And Barney started that again the other day. I said, like, yeah, don't tell me I don't listen. Give me something I can listen to. Then you can tell me. And if I don't listen to that, then sure. Anyway. I do think that it will be in this lifetime. You will at least have that kind of experience. And I really do think it is very possible that you created this experience for yourself to experience it. But the thing is, you can't. It's like paradise. Paradise only feels like paradise when you're not in paradise. When you are in paradise, it's fucking boring. It's just like, oh my God, you know, how many coconut drinks can I have today? You know. Every now and again, I've had sex with who? With Rochelle, or you mean somebody else? Yeah. Well, that's what this reading is saying. You both at this point in time, it's not happening. You're both independent. You're both going through your own stuff, and you got shit to sort out. That's why I keep saying to you, the sooner that you get through this part of it, the sooner you are ready, the sooner you can move on. But this particular lesson that you're going through has to be learned, because it's become a physical barrier to what you want. So the only way is to actually learn what it is that you need to learn through this. Once you've learned what you need to, once you've learned this lesson, then there's no reason for it to exist anymore. Then you move on to the next one. Well, desire is not quite the same thing as love. Love, it doesn't matter if you meet in this life. This is the difference between the desire. Desire is the desire to be with somebody physically. Not just talking about sex. I'm talking about to physically be in their lives, to have an actual legitimate relationship, and you have the kids and the car and the mortgage to show for it. You know what I'm saying? That's desire, or wanting to literally have sex. But love means that even if you do not see each other in the flesh for 3 lifetimes, it doesn't change anything. And you don't worry about it. You just go and live your life. That's the difference. Love is not an obsession. That's why most of these people are doing twin flame readings and soulmate readings, all this. It's obsessive. This is what I have against it. It's obsessive. It's not love. It's obsession. People are obsessed with getting this external love confirmation. I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying just in general. When we go around the web, this is why a lot of us joke about the whole twin flame reading. Twin flames, I think, genuinely are a thing for some people. There's nothing wrong with lust. That's the thing again. But it's largely just a human sensation. And lust really comes out of it, also a feeling of lack. So you lust for things. You lust for the stimulation, for the stimulus. So it comes a little bit out of the feeling of lack. Once it's kind of weird, because it's a weird, it's a very strange, what's the word, like no man's land, to be in a place where you begin to realize that lust, as much fun as it is actually comes from lack, from the feeling of lack. So you start to lust, like, for example, when you don't have enough money to pay the bills, and you don't have enough of this, and you don't have enough of that. That is a very similar desire, a very similar experience and feeling to desire and lust. Henk, you've heard me say this many times. We can feel whatever we want. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be a lie. It doesn't make it a lie. But we will feel whatever it is that we want to feel. Like, that's why I often say to people, if you get into a relationship, you are the one that decides whether it will last or not. If you stay in it, and you people say, oh, love dies and then lust dies. No, actually, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I've been in relationships where it didn't. And years later, sorry to get hot. How did that get up to 25 degrees? I thought it was on 24. I'll turn it on for a little bit. Let's get some air going. Because I'm starting to get hot. This is the problem with analyzing and with analyzing things with logic. Okay, is the mind is always analyzing it, so the mind is unsure, and the mind starts to spin its wheels. We will feel whatever it is that we want to feel. I know people think I'm crazy when I say it, but you will if you like. That's where lust and obsession become so strong. If we could take the lust and the obsession and use that intense passion and energy for positive things, we literally can manifest anything we want. It's just that for some reason we are so good at obsessing, but we're not very good at manifesting. This is the bizarre thing. Like, I think it's just the way we are brought up. We obsess like about objects, like a nice car, a nice house, a nice this, a nice that. And we obsess so intensely about it that in a way we almost chase it away, because unfortunately obsessive energy is negative. Like the saying, I love him to death. Do you know what you're saying? You're going to love somebody into death. Not until death do us part. It's just the saying has been shortened, and it sounds, to me, it always makes me